How I met my famous SP and eventually married him, techniques involved. I just found out about this sub after lurking in the main NG sub for some time. Anyway, I think it's gonna be helpful if I can shed some light on how I got my SP. My SP is a famous person in my city. He appears in local television frequently and have quite a number of social media following. His family is also famous and maybe that's why he gained fame at a young age. His father, for example, is a local celebrity who not only appeared in local televisions all the time but went on to national talk shows several times. My SP and I, to my knowledge at that point of time, did not have anything in common aside from the fact that I was studying in the college that he studied. I knew him through my college graduation ceremony when he came back and made a commencement speech. I took a liking to him immediately because not only he looks cute and confident, he is also an intelligent public speaker who knows how to engage a crowd. I have decided to manifest him in my life, and at that point of time I was just thinking of dating. I followed him on Instagram and there's that. I did not go out of my ways to like all his photos or comment on his photos or reply to his stories or anything like that. I only comment on things that are actually worth commenting, like congratulations on achieving this project, etc. But every night before I sleep, I imagine him holding my hands and us walking in the park. I also imagine a scene where I told my friends and family that I am dating this guy and people respond with surprise because he is a famous and well-established person in our city. Several months went by. We all received an email saying that he would come to our college again to give a speech about a recent project he is collaborating with the school, and after that there would be a networking event where students can mingle with alumni. Of course I went to the speech and the afterward event. Again, I did not go out of my way to find him, crowd is kinda big to do that anyway. What I did, actually, was right before the mingling, I imagined us talking with each other. Then I went about talking and mingling with a calmed mind. Nothing happened during the mingling until the event was almost over. I was talking to my friend about a video game I was playing, Dark Souls 3 LOL. I was saying this boss was really hard to fight and I always got one shot before I could even blink. Then I heard someone talking behind, "Why don't you circle around him to bait him into the cave first?" I turned around and lo and behold, it is my SP. I almost couldn't contain my excitement. Trying my best to calm my nerves, I asked him if he plays DS2 and he smiled yes. Then I started telling him about my experience with Dark Souls series and video games in general. He smiled and started talking to me about his own experience with Dark Souls and Bloodborne, same genre of games. We lost ourselves in our conversation, but it turned out us going to the same college is not the only thing we have in common. He had to leave eventually, so the conversation ended with him saying, "You were saying you don't have a high-gig PC to play DS in full HD? I know this place that sells amazing PC parts where you can purchase a cheap part to enhance the graphics dramatically. We did a project with them last year or so the owner owes me. Why don't you give me your email and I'll send you their contact info later tonight?" Of course I did. I went home giddy because everything was unbelievable, but perfectly believable because I manifested everything. Ugh, it's hard to explain. Anyway, that night before I sleep, I envisioned the same scene but with a small detail changed. During our stroll in the park, we talk about how we met because he overheard me talking about Crystal Titanite Lizard, the boss I was talking about, and we laughed together. I played this scene over and over and I fell asleep after that. Note, I didn't tell anyone about my manifestation or my plan to manifest him in my life at this point. He only sent that email a few days later because he went to another city for another project. In that email, he gave me the details of the PC place and he also apologized for not replying immediately. Honestly, I was feeling very uneasy during those days and had a lot of self-doubt, and it took quite amount of effort to barely overcome that, so when I received his email I also fucking cried. I knew I was very shaken when I received the email, so I took some time to calm myself before replying. I waited for several hours and then I wrote to him thanking him for helping me, but I don't mind if he minds to answer several other questions. I told him that as a fresh grad I find it a little hard to land long-term jobs because internships don't always lead to jobs. What is important is to network, and I know he has a wide network in this city, so I ask him if he has any tips or advice on how to expand your network. After I sent this I was strangely at peace, it felt as if I have accomplished a great feat. He did not reply straight away. A few days later, a Sunday, at around 9 p.m., I was playing League of Legends. My phone out of sudden was buzzing hard and it was annoying as hell to me. Those of you who played League would understand, lol. I was like, who the fuck is messaging me in the middle of a barren fight? I thought it must be my folks or something like that because they live at the other side of the planet and their time zone was 12 hours away. Because I was in a critical point of the game, so I ignored the text until the game is over, and when I finally looked at my phone. It's him. He sent me 2 separate emails. The first one contained at least 3 long PDF files with info about networking, interviewing and job hunting in our city. The second email is like this. Hey Janamasi, I hope you don't mind for the late reply because I had a meeting in Mass. I sent you a bunch of info regarding job search and I know it seems overwhelming at this point, but trust me, they are helpful, so take your time, read them through. On top of this, I was thinking, since I have another event next month or so, do you want to join me? We can talk more about job hunting or video games. Smiley face. Wah, and girls, at this junction I was thinking he might like me too, because why would someone do this without any interest in the person? Maybe he was looking for a friend, since I don't think many people in his social circle play video games and whatnot. I was over the moon. To think that he actually replied to my questions with serious answers, not just a few lines of text of platitudes. He is a busy person with rising fame in this city, and he took out the time to make sure I get the most info as much as possible. I was agitated so much as that I started hopping around the apartment and my roommate's golden retriever woke up. I went to the event the following month. Again, I did a mini imaginal scene before the after-event mingling session, and this time I imagined that he would ask me out. This time round he actually found me pretty quick. We talked about job search and networking and of course games like League. He did not ask me out, but he did say something along the lines that whenever he has an event coming up I should join him and try to talk to people around. That was enough for me. I went home satisfied and slept with the same imaginal scene as before. Also, I did go to the PC place he asked me to, but instead of upgrading my PC parts, I just bought a Acer gaming laptop, lol. Kinda not important, just put it here for the lols. I didn't receive any announcement as to when he would attend the next event, but I wasn't worried at all. I firmly believed that our paths will cross again very soon. I still had the same imaginal scene as before, but with another modification. I imagined that we are in this new apartment and he holds my hand and tells me he loves me very, very much. I imagined that I look into his light hazel eyes and feel loved. I repeated this scene several times before I went to sleep. A few weeks went by. In the original edit I said a few days, that's not right, lol. It felt fast looking back, but back then it was super slow. I received another email from him, asking me to join him in a private setting, like a date. Hey Janamasi, I know that even though we only met with each other for a few times or so, but I know we have a great connection with one another. Do you want to join me for coffee tomorrow at this place? I will buy you Odyssey if you do so. Smiley face. Odyssey equals AC Odyssey. I told him several times that I wanted to play that game, but I was salty about Ubisoft, so very reluctant to give them $60 lol. Of course I went to our very first date in May 2018, and everything just went from there. In late 2018 I finally got a job offer that I want from the state capital. My SP and I rented a small apartment there for that reasons, and we moved to the state capital. This is a huge transition for us because my SP is a famous person in our city, so it's almost like him abandoning his connection temporarily, but this is not exactly relevant here. Maybe I'll write another post on this. 2 weeks before his 29th birthday, he proposed. In mid-2019, we registered at the City Hall and had a small family-oriented ceremony in Vermont. After we moved into our tiny place, he put his arms around me and held me extremely tight and whispered in my ears, "I love you." Well, you can say this is not exactly what I was picturing before, because I imagined us walking in a park and he said he loves me. But I took it as manifestation anyway. Oh, and we are now living 15 minutes of drive away from a national park, so we always go there for walks on the weekends, and yes, we hold hands and talk about games. That's it, folks. This is how a gamer girl met her small celebrity husband.